boss nu ko neex lay doxee
waa kay
mère boss dikkal mère boss nu ko neex lay solo
mère boss dikkal
mère boss nu ko neex lay waxee
mère boss
ñawal mère boss nu ko neex lay solo
waa kontaan daa
waa mère boss
salaamaaleykum
mère boss xam nga ne tey da nga sañse
Hadi wax na dëgg dama sañse
nga sañse kay
tàccu leen suma sañse bi waa kontaan naa waa
mère boss tey nag
waa
dag ma kool fajar capantati maa ngi nelaw nga ne ma jógal waxkati QTV bi ma ne lu xew nga ne ma kaay fekk ma penc bi mbaa jaama la
jaama salaam
lu xew
waa Paradise Foundation ñoo ma invite
ñoo la oo
Paradise Foundation ñoo ma invite te dinaa ñëw te dinaa fi toj waa
Aïcha luñ la oo luñ la wax
dafa am lu ñu war a waxtaanee
mooy lan
ma ne leen naa ñu wax si ba mu saf
waaw
ndax yàgg naa se wax dégguñ ma
waaw
léegi nag dañ ñëw comme ñoom def programme bi pour waxtaanee ko ma ñëw pour bokk si wax suma xalaat tàccu leen loolu
waaw man de yow laa bëgg yow ndeke xaw ma ko woon ma ne ndeke yow laa bëgg te xaw ma ko woon nii
waaw xam nga dafa jot
waaw
dimba lañ doon sagal jigéen ñi
waaw
tama si laa bokka
waaw
léegi nag kon war naa see wax tey jii nag dañoo wax si xale yi
waaw dëgg la tàccu leen
xale yi dañ si war a wax
loolu am na solo
wax si xale yi nag mooy wax si suñ boppa ndax ñun ñoo jur xale yi ñoo leen màggale ñoo leen yar xam nga lu ma gën a bañ ma jur suma doom ba pare ma ne lu ma ko dara ma loolu bugguma ko ma bugguma loolu
jur doom mënuloo ko dara
jur sa doom mu nekk liir bu ndaw nga di ko dampa di ko diw karité ba mu xëy roba la di dox nga solo ko uniforme mu dem school dem ba mu yaaga mu ne dafa mat janxa suy dox di wégeru di la wax di la réegeju nga ne mën a suma dara loolu waxi caaxaan la
loolu moom gàcce la
ma may ma ko benn xale
dëgg yàlla
waaw ma may ma ko benn xale
waaw
léegi nag tey li ma wax ñang dama bëgg nga déglu ma
maa ngi laa déglu
man de xuma deret
waaw
ma suma wax suma dégga laay wax
maa ngi laa déglu
wax bi na du neex mooy xale jigéen ñi dama bëgg ngeen déglu ma internet bi yaaxa na dëkk bi
waaw internet rek
waaw yaaxa na dëkk bi
léegi la mère boss internet bi tas na fi
te internet bi li moo yaaxa dëkk bi yëpp ñun ñoo tax mu yaaxa dëkk bi
waaw
da internet bi ñu ñoo ko fi dalal
waaw
bi mu fee duga ñu ñoo ko ne welcome
waaw
mu ñëw ñu welcome ko nice jox ko néeg bu nice jox ko néeg bu am AC ne ko tëddee suñ lal yi
waaw
léegi bu laalee suñ lal yi tirimal ko ñun kan la ñoo wax
internet bi ak yow sa bopp
xam nga kon ñu ñoo ko def
waa la wax lii
waa internet bi nag lim yaaxa mun nañ koo defaraat
léegi noo koo defaraatee
ñu waxa xale yi nga xam ne internet baa ngi leen ay yaaxa
nooy defee xale yi
ndax dañoo dugga si internet bi gis loo xam ne waruñ koo def ñu def ko
waaw
internet baa nga yaaxa jikko yi hadi
dëgg la
internet bi nekkul lépp nga laal
dëgg la
am na loo xam ne soo ko laalee mu laal la
dëgg la
internet bi am na loo xam ne soo koy laal mu laal
dëgg la waaga nangu naa
dama bëgg xale yi xam ne ci yar lañ toola
dëgg la
ñu déglu seen yaay di leen waxal seen papa yi di leen waxal ñuy déglu ndigal ndax xale bu si nekk bëgg nga soo maagee tekki bokk si ñi baax
dëgg la
waa internet bi nga xam ne li ci baax li si bon yëpp kenn mënu koo xamee suñ laa waxal nga regeju loolu baaxut
te mère boss leneen lu ci gën a garaa mooy man damay xam ne yow sa doom daa sikk waaye man damay ragal a wax sa sikkaange doom ndax sama doom la ma bàyyi suma kër
waaw balaa ngaa bale kër jàmbur sa néeg dafa tilim noo koo bale
waaw doy na waar
sa doom yi xamoo nuñ mel
waaw
nga bëgg a wax si doomi jàmbur mun ta nekk
doy waar kon nag fi nekk nii lii mooy li nga xamante ne rek tey
déglu ba bu ma daga
ki ci sa ginnaaw wala daga ki ci sa ginnaaw moo la daga
bu ma daga moom su ma dagee na ñëw fii ñu defante ko
waay
soo ma dagee nga ñëw fii ñu defante ko li ma bëgg a wax si internet bi mooy xale jigéen ñi nañ moytu luñ gis bugg a koo jëfee
waaw loo seet
yaa na seen njàng mi
waaw
tax na munatuñ leen a yar ndax yéen doñ foog ne seen yaay yi fu mu nekk nii ñoom ñoo leen gën a muus seen yaay yi ay dof lañ tam la meewul noonu de
dof lañ ñu tuddee
yéen a war a nekk sample ëllëg
doy na waar
yéen a war a nekk ñu baax ëllëg yéen lañ yaakaar ëllëg te internet bi du lépp nga laal mun nga seen nag use jànga seet li nga gis ne soo ko gisee su ëllëgee bu jëriñ la waaye nekkul ne da nga war a yaaxu te nag man téléphone buñ ci tëj téléphone buñ ci def code la sa biir óoluwuma ko
waaw
sa yaay du laal sa papa du laal
keneen du laal
guddi ngay wax téléphone di wax ndànka kenn du la dégga
waaw
soo xëy sa yaay la ne koo doon waxal nga ne suma xarit bi suma frère bi xam nga loo man d'accord
waay tàcc leen ngeen bës waay kontaan nañ jërë ngeen jëf
su ngeen kontaanee tàccu leen wala du ma wàcca
ay tàccu leen mu ne wala du wàcca
bye bye jërëjëf.
Wow, it was a splendid performance. Those to appreciate them, please give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mayor boss mu ne ñu bàyyi internet bi ñu jànga. I appreciate her red bag. So we are moving on with the program. We are going to have the second set of speakers, and this is going to be moderated by our dear brother, Mr. Peter Gomez. I want to now call on the speakers to come to the high table. Miss Halimatu Jesurobo, you'll do that. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I was meant to be saying good morning, but I now find myself having to greet you at a time when I should have left the hall. If you were to ask a Gambian what is the Gambia's biggest problem right now, they'll probably quote the C word, corruption. And of course, we do have a corruption problem. But probably preceding corruption is time management. We are poor time managers. And we need to begin empowerment of our women by empowering them to do better than men in time management. So next year, hopefully, when we have the International Women's Day celebration and speakers are to start speaking at 9 o'clock, we will ensure that we start at 9 o'clock. Once again, good afternoon. My name is Peter Gomez. Gambians like stories. And the stories Gambians like the most are stories about other people's misfortune. When Rohi told her story, we were all, quote unquote, moved. This is a story we can pass on. We will leave this hall, we will recount it, we will add things, we will subtract things. If the same Rohi had stood here and spoken only about how many degrees she had, how many children she had who were now in various universities across the world, how many years she spent working for the World Bank and other international institutions, what would we say? Ki hajan rek. We do not like to hear positive stories about others. We like only to hear about negative stories about others. And as a communication specialist, as I sat where I sat, I saw people shed tears. When she finished her speech, the reaction told one of only two things. Either we all pitied her at this late stage of whatever happened to her, which is what she doesn't want. When she needed pity, probably she did not have it until Paradise Foundation came. Or two, what happened to Rohi is a reflection of what is happening in our families every day, but we are sitting on it. In which case, we have a lot of work to do. All right, stories. Because we're really pressed for time and we are going to push the next thing. In 1962, at number 2 Charles Street, on the 2nd of February, a child was born by one woman. Later on, this child was given to another woman, both women uneducated, to raise. Today, these days, they will tell you, oh, no, she's a, how do you call it? She's a single mother. That child now stands in front of you. I was raised by a single mother. And the one thing that unites all of us, astronauts, airports, presidents, popes, imams, we were all born by a woman. That is for certain. It is told that you are sure who your mother is, you can never be sure who your father is. You are told that this is your father. Fact or fiction? Okay, all right. So that is why International Women's Day is a very important day. It affects all of us, and I am very happy to see that a lot of people with disabilities are involved. I am a person with disability myself, and I hope that I epitomize what is possible as long as people choose to work hard. Coming here, I had prepared a very long opening statement, because that is the tradition. They tell you you're going to moderate. They give you 30 minutes for your opening speech and give the speakers 10 minutes. And I ask myself, are we serious? So the moderator, the MC or whatever, usually has the lion's share of the time. But as I stood there listening to the previous speakers and the moderator, everything that this day is about has been covered in the 95 minutes they took, even though they were supposed to only take 45 minutes. So really, we have heard the speeches. The next step should be now to concentrate on IWD, International Women's Day, being a call to action. And for the next 45 minutes, I promise you, it will not be more than 45 minutes. That is what the next set of speakers are going to attempt. And I want to begin right away by inviting Halimatu Jesurubo from the National AIDS Control Program. Please come up and take your place. Biran Gillen, Information Technology Association of the Gambia. Dr. Sylvia Lorenzi, Peace of Mind. Use the other one, use the other one, use the other one, use the other one. Kumba Dafe Ka, President of Treasure Women Warriors. Lubna Faraj, lawyer from the Flag Organization. And last but not least, the only man in the panel, Pastor Francis Forbes. They're all being mic'd up. And while they are doing that, I just want to thank the organizers of the day. waaw ñu ngi bàyyi xel ne du ñëpp ñi nekk ci jotaay bi ñoo mun a dégg li nga xam ne moo fee xew ci anglais waaye ëpp doole waxtaan bi yëpp ci anglais lañ ko defee waaye di ndokkale jigéen yi rek ñëpp dégg nañ wax ji leer na torop ci ni ko Musukuta waxee bàjjen yi biñ jógee di wax ñuy jaajëfalit rohi mi nga xam ne wax nañu moom li ko dal ci dundam waaye waxu ko rek pour ñu taacul ko yërëm ko daf ko wax ngir edda xale yi eddaale yaay yi parce que dañ dee wax ne jigéen daanaka moom mooy yar parce que doom su baaxee ñu jox njukkal jigéen ji yaakaar naa wala góor yi xëccoo kook ñoom waaye doom su bonee kan la ñoo wax ne moo waral doom ji bon yaay yi kon yaay yi yéen a war a gën a góorgóorlu bari na nag yaay joo wax mu naan la man dama jànga xale yi ak seen mobile phone si man ki ma jur jàngut musuta def benn fan ci school ki ma yar muy rakki man ki ma jur maanaam suma tanta moom it jàngut waaye lim daan def saa yu ma wàccee ak suma bug dafa ut ku jànga ne ko xoolal ma lan la liggéey tey ndax baax na ndax baaxut li ma wax ni yàlla moo may seede waaye yow soo jàngut utal ku jànga mu dimbale la wax la sa doom ci lim nekk mbiri mobile phone yi nag su neexee yàlla xëy na waxtaan yi dina ci indi ay leeral mobile phone yaa ngi indi loraange ci réew mi te niñ ko waxee woon dañ foog ne mobile phone dafa ñëw pour gën a jagar suñ society waaye li mooy yaaxa moo ëppa li moo defar. Pastor Forbes is pressed for time. I was going to let him be the last speaker, but I'm going to introduce him right away. Pastor Forbes is known to most, if not all of us here in this room. He is the founder of the Abiding Word Ministries Church, and for the past 3 decades, he has built his ministry with integrity and excellence. He is well known for coaching, mentoring, advising, public speaking, and counseling. In April 2019, he founded the Forbes Academy, a public speaking, training, and mentoring institute for all aspiring public speakers, young and adult. He does a lot of publicity on my radio station, and for that reason, and perhaps for that reason alone, I invite Pastor Forbes now to come and give the first lecture, if you like. And Pastor Forbes, you will have no more than 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes calculates to roughly 500 words. 500 words should be more than enough to transmit a message. And I will be very strict in timekeeping. But already whoever is miking you up is taking half a minute.
Not fair.
Does it mean that Pastor Forbes doesn't have to come to the lectern?
No, I can speak.
So fantastic. So from his position, Pastor Forbes, you have to come here.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You're not fair on us.
Implications of adolescent risky behaviors on health, society, and the economy. Just a few thoughts. An implication is a possible or likely consequence of what can happen. Adolescence, we all know, is the period of life when a child develops into an adult. And for the young children here, there is a scientific fact that there is a part of our brain, there's a little organ there called the medulla oblongata, and we are told it doesn't mature until you are age 25. So any decision you make, especially that has a lifetime consequence, will be traumatic. Substance abuse is a risky behavior. Unsafe sexual practices, reckless lifestyle like driving, spinning, delinquent behaviors. All these things have an effect on, number one, your health. Drugs can cause liver damage, respiratory problems. Unsafe sexual practices can give you sexually transmitted infections, unintended pregnancies, VVF, and all the attendant reproductive health issues. Reckless driving can result in injuries or fatalities. And all these things have a cost to the health of our country. Society, delinquent behavior can lead to criminal activities, social disorder. Substance abuse can lead to increased criminal rates, theft, burglary, violence. When it comes to the economy, substance abuse can result in lost productivity due to missed work, decreased job performance, incarcerations, rehabilitations, road traffic accident figures. They become an unnecessary burden to our healthcare and penal correctional systems, as well as unplanned babies that are born, taking a toll on the national economy with possible increased employment figures, halfway housing, etc. What are some of the reasons behind this? Number one, we know that a lot of young people feel a need to impress or belong. Sometimes, and this is very important, it could be domestic situations, domestic dysfunctions, divorces in homes, betrayals, violence, lack of economic power, or traumatized experiences, sexual violations, painful loss like a sudden death that you cannot recover from, or blackmailing and cyberbullying. And young people, you have to know that just generally, if you go online and you click that you want to buy shoes right now, before midnight, you have all kinds of sites selling shoes to you. It's the same way when you go to a wrong site, a sexual site, or anything like that, and you don't have the power to control it, you're going to see more than you can handle and possibly fall victim of it all. So let me do two things, and then I would get away from this stage because I have to go. Let me tell you what I've written here. The need for proper and exemplary parenting. Parents, guardians, and other adults in the lives of our young ones should also model healthy and responsible behaviors, lifestyles, and decision-making, instilling consistent home values, as well as creating time for wholesome conversations on all issues with our teens and adolescents in an understanding and non-judgmental way, so that they can hear us and we can hear them. This would always create a safe zone in their hearts to talk about what they are going through, so we just don't condemn them. But to you, the young people, this is my advice. When you go through peer pressure, and I hope you don't forget this statement I'm about to make, because you are told you are not cool, you are not one of us, you are inexperienced, you are a prude, you are speaking, you are overprotected, resist it. Resist it because of the values that you have in your life. Check which 4 friends you have in your life. They either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Choose the 2. Choose friends who add and choose friends who multiply. And if people pressurize you, especially young girls, that come and do it, be like us, do it, be like us, lose your virginity. Put the pressure back on them and read my lips. Tell them this. If I want, I can choose to be like you, but you can never be like me again. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor Forbes. Short and sweet. Okay, children, I understand you are beginning to tire out, but do bear with us. We are here for you. You are the reason we are here. If you are tired, tell us you are tired, and we would be very happy to go back to our different jobs. So please pay attention as new knowledge is being imparted to you. That was Pastor Forbes. I would now like to follow the order in which we are sat. Pastor Forbes is excused. And invite Halimatu Jesurobo, a senior nursing officer from the National AIDS Control Program of the Ministry of Health. She's a nurse midwife with more than 25 years experience in sexual and reproductive health, to come and counsel some of you boys and girls. People think that teenage pregnancy is only a problem of girls. It's the boys who make them pregnant. So you boys also have to be taught how to become responsible. Keep that thing where it is until it's time to bring it out.
Hello, good afternoon. My co-panelists, also to my senior colleagues, I'm saying good afternoon to you. It is a privilege to be here. To our distinguished students who are here and parents, as a health practitioner, good parenting is key in everything we do. And during the first deliberations, the Bajens talked on the students. I am going to focus on the parents, because the risky behaviors that the children engage in or the students engage in starts from the house. And the foundation is good parental guidance, which have been alluded by other speakers that it's really lacking. It's a big challenge because we are overtaken by events of work and other social interactions, forgetting about the children that we are supposed to take care of. And as parents nowadays, we believe that good parenting is just providing material things and food and other social things that would make the child happy. But research has shown, or evidence has shown, that children need our care and our love in the house by having good communication skills with them, talking to them on how to understand their bodies. Average students here that are here, or we've had the story of Rohingya. Rohingya, most of us have seen ourselves in her. Like the moderator said, what have we learned from her? Or what are we going to take back to our places? Is it Ndeysan? No. We don't want the Ndeysan. We want to learn from it. That instead of stigmatizing her and judging her as parents, we should be able to take care of our children by listening. Listening is very lacking in the homes, and it's a fundamental challenge that is making young children and young people to go into risky behaviors. And that's why most of the time now they turn to the social media. The social media now is where they get advice from. And like alluded by other speakers, in the social medias, you could get the good ones and you could get the bad ones. And unfortunately, most of our youths are getting the bad advice. So we would call on, as healthcare workers, we're calling on the population, parents, be it the woman and the man, the father and the mother, to get to know their children, listen to them, and ask what their opinions are, and talk to them about understanding their body parts. One of the Bajens said, you need to know your chir. Danga wara dencha sa chir. So denchu sa chir lan nga mom boko joxe. That chir, students are saying, or we are saying, children are saying that they are not told about what their bodies are. They don't understand it. They don't know the functions of their bodies. For example, in reproductive health, what is the function of the breasts? Or what is the function of your sexual organs? They don't know. They only explore. So we are calling on parents to go away from the culture of silence and start talking about sexuality in the house, so that we would teach our young ones to know about our sexual needs in our house, so that when they go out, they will not be pushed by peer pressure to go and explore and find themselves in the wrong hands. Coming to the implications on health, we had issues of Rohi's story, teenage pregnancy or early pregnancy. It's very rampant in this community. 1 in every 5 girls have gone under through teenage pregnancy during their adolescent life, which is a big problem in the health sector. And it will result to either unplanned abortion or unsafe abortions. The survivor was very bold in that he had the support of the mother to go through the pregnancy. But most women or young girls go on through safe abortions, and we know what happens with unsafe abortions. Unsafe abortions come up with a lot of complications later in life. For example, sexually transmissible infection, including HIV, which the prevalence among the young adolescents and young people is 0.4%. You might think it's small, but it can be up to 20% or more if you want to include it with the young people. We are saying that is highly that is not wanted in the society. Another one that when you have a sexually transmissible infection, it could result into infertility later in life. So these are implications that have immediate and long-lasting effects on society, and usually they are stigmatized and blamed later in life when they become responsible adults and family, while it was unplanned decisions that were done, and the parents did not do guidance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Halimatu. Now, young boys and girls, if what Halimatu just said, you want to leave for your parents, the next speaker is here for you, or you are here for the next speaker, what she has to say. Biran is our next speaker, Biran Gillen. I can be informal with her because we go back sometime. She is the co-founder and CEO of The Hub. I'm sure all of you know The Hub. As chair of the Youth Empowerment Project's ICT Core Team Committee, Biran was responsible for coordinating all ICT sector-related interventions under that project. She is the president of the IT Association of the Gambia, ITAG. She is a mentor for women in technology in the Gambia and girls in ICT advocacy. So over to Biran. I am sure what she has to say will interest you. Likewise, she has 4 minutes, strictly 4 minutes. Don't even try to go over by a second. She's trouble.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everyone. I'm just amazed at the turnout, Aisha and the Paradise Foundation, and I just really want to give the Paradise Foundation a huge round of applause. The turnout is amazing. So dama jéem laaka tuuti si Olof, laaka tuuti si Angale, because buga naa waxa yaay ak papa yi buga naa waxa tamit ak xale yi tuuti. So I'll start in English. Bu leen ma ree nag suma Olof yi dina xala jaxasoo tuuti. But as a president of the IT Association, I've been involved in IT, I think, for the past 25 years, I would say. I studied technology, but I realized after I studied technology, I'm really very passionate about people. And that's what really got me a lot into volunteer work. But it's through that work that really I got into mentoring, and specifically mentoring girls in technology. And that's what drew me to this program, because we focus a lot on beautifying STEM for women, which is amazing, don't get me wrong. I am a STEM advocate. But we never ever put the lens on also the things that go wrong when it's not used in the right way. And that was part of the reason why I was very excited when Aisha called me for this panel, because as much as we have pros in every argument, we also need to focus on the cons so that we can also figure out how to solve some of those problems. And I just want to speak on two things for the young ones, and then I'll go over to the parents. So one of the points I wanted to make today is regarding the responsible use of technology. How do we learn to use technology in a responsible way? If you're on Facebook, do you have your personal details on Facebook? How do you secure your data on Facebook? And there are courses that you can learn, whether it's online or offline, here in Gambia, taught by very knowledgeable people that'll teach you how to be safe online and how do I call it? Is it you want to be a good citizen? I think Rohi mentioned that a lot in her speech, being a good citizen. But being a good netizen is also something that's very important. That means being someone that's on the internet as a citizen and comporting yourself in a way that you need to be able to be more successful in what you do. And I think some of the things that lack in terms of our society, specifically Gambia, because I'm Gambian, it's Gambia I can talk about, is in terms of really being able to provide that platform, positive platform for young people to understand the value IT brings to your life. We only focus on the YouTubes and the YouTube shorts and the TikToks and the Instagrams and all of that. But what value is that bringing to you? If you're selling wonjo and ginger, send Bobby coin, or you're selling groundnut cake, how do you leverage on that platform? As a small entrepreneur, you can be 12, 13, 14. You're really good at baking. How do you use that same platform that you're focused on your iPhone Pro and doing all sorts of facial expressions? Use that same platform to benefit you. How do we turn that negative into a positive? And I think that's one of the things that's lacking. We need to focus more on showing the positive side of using tech versus the negative. And I think also one of the things that parents, sunyai, should also be able to do is allow children to explore new lijanti internet bi, and maybe mun nañ say even amé métier. So luma bëgg explain fofu moy, for example, nga gis doom boo xam ne am na interest si computer, am na interest si technology, su ñëwee wàcca school war a def homework am mu ubbi laptop bi. Example, mu ubbi laptop bi nga realize ne dema study, yow yéen a ngi fii rek nekk si laptop bi doo leen def dara, dema jël sa book si nga study. You don't really focus on why is it that he never opens the book? He always opens the laptop. Oh, maybe I should put his notes on the laptop. Maybe that will allow him to study. Maybe su ma defee notes yi ma jël ko ma def ko si laptop bi dina study si laptop bi. Maybe mom laptop bi moo ko interest. Book bi soo ko joxee dafa nelaw. Waaye maybe mom nii la bugg a jàngee bugguta jàngee nii. So I think loolu lu ñu war a focus on la ñun as parents, because ñun nit ñu yaree man sax nit ñu ma yaree mooy ne da nga war a study. So wàccee school da nga war a dem studies, after studies soo ñëwee da nga war a study ba 3. Léegi dañoo jël suñu tànkay dugal ko si biir ndox pour buñ nelaw. Dañoo study ba bër set, TDB, you know. But the age that we're in right now, we have to also innovate as parents. How do we parent teenagers of today? Naka lañ mën a yaree suñ doom yi si jamono buñ nekk nii cannot be nit ñu yaree ñun 30 years ago. foog ñu innovate. We are not bending our morals. Nekkuñ di bend suñ values yi, but we're using what we have today and innovating, but still maintaining our traditional values and our core customs and traditions. So man loolu bëggoon naa torop ñun parents yi ñu bàyyi si xel bu baax. Man, I have 2 teenage boys. One is 16, one is 19. Kenn ki drag naa ko ba fii nii ñëw na moo mën a ànda. Because dama feel ne ñun dañ di focus a lot on xale yu jigéen yi. Ñun xale yu góor suñu xale yu góor yi ñooy dem takki jigéen yooyu. Comme nu ko Peter waxee xale yu góor yi ñooy dem biirale xale yu jigéen yooyu. Ñooñu dañu war a learn seen responsibilities as góor. Góor then and góor now dafa ute. Góor dañ daan jaar si njuli ñu jàngal leen eedal leen teg leen waxal leen 1 month boo xam ne ñu ngi leen a eedal leen wax góor taxawaayam góor dafa war a am fit dafa war a am courage dafa war a am honor. Where is that today? Amut. Ana njuli yi ana salbe yi ana lenge yi amut. So what replaced that? Technology. So how do we use that same technology to drive our message? Thank you. Maybe because you need to give me more time.
No, they can't, yeah. Please, remember that fader, keep it up. I can control this mic, don't worry. Just leave it open so that whenever I need to get in, sometimes I will have to, intervene and get people off. Thank you, Biran. Mune ana lenge yepang ci internet bi legi. Next is Dr. Sylvia Lorenzi, a clinical psychologist and transpersonal psychotherapist. I have no idea what that is. With more than 10 years of experience in the clinical field in Italy and 5 years experience in the Gambia. She has a variety of experience working in the area of psycho-emotional support, both with young people and adults. She is now committed to improve accessibility of specialized mental health and psychosocial support services in the Gambia. This is very important because Rohi, during her story, told us how she grappled with mental illness. Here in the Gambia, we stigmatize people with mental illness, not knowing that every day some of us go through mental illness. As I am sure Sylvia, perhaps during her 4-minute, will try to tell us what mental illness is all about. Dr. Sylvia, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the women, the men, the boys and the girls that are sitting in the hall. I'm really glad to be sitting here today, and I'm really happy that Paradise Foundation was able to create such a nice platform. I wish that this will continue, that it will not stop here. And I want also to do a big clap to them and to all the organizers and the sponsors also that were able to make this happening. So in this moment, my head is giving me so many things, so many impulse. I really hope I will be able to send out some key messages and in a very clear way. First of all, I am originally from Italy. I moved into the Gambia in 2015 with my Gambian husband. I'm sorry that I am missing out all the local language side, because up to now my local languages are very poor. But anyway, my profession is I am a psychologist and a psychotherapist. So I'm sure that majority of you don't have a clue of what is my job. But what I used to tell people is that my job is to help people to be more comfortable with themselves. Full stop. We are all human beings. We are all going through issues. We are all going through sufferance. No one is perfect, so we are all the same. So I would like to encourage you that are sitting here to start to empathize, first of all, with yourself, because you went through a lot. because your life is not easy, because you have a lot of wounds that you are carrying since you were young. And then also with the others. We all do mistakes, right? Do you know anyone who is not doing mistakes? So why to point the finger? Why to lose our time in gossiping? Let's focus on improve ourselves so we don't even have the time to look at what the others are doing. So the social media are a big distraction. This is the reality. So we are so overwhelmed about what is going on that took Facebook, whatever is there, movies, but these things are not helping us to face the issues and take the responsibility of our life. So I'm glad to be here because this is a way to bring issues to the table. We are not going probably to find any solution today because what we are talking about is so complex and so big, but at least it's under the lights. And it's not something that we can put on the young people. Because of course, yes, they have their responsibilities, but it's just a piece. We as adults, we need to take our responsibilities. The ones that are in the government have to take their responsibilities. So this is a job that we need to do all together. So I would like to invite you now, as adults, to think about when you were adolescents. Because it's not we adults and them adolescents. We were all there. And most of us are still carrying the pain that was happening in that stage of life. Because our body was changing, right? Very intense feelings, issues at home, issues at school, so many things, and no guidance, let's be honest. Most of us, they were not having any guidance. I come from a very wealthy country, they say Europe. Yes, my parents were there with the food and with everything, the material things that Auntie Alima was mentioning, but no one was there to guide me emotionally, to prepare me to take informed choices. How we can blame someone to be pregnant at 17 years old if we are not there to guide the person not to get pregnant? So punishing someone for doing wrong is not the way. Guiding someone and promote healthy behaviors is the way.
I think unfortunately we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Dr. Lorenzi, let's move on.
thank you.
The next speaker is Kumba Dafe. She is the president and founder of Treasure Women Warriors, which was created to uplift women to financial freedom. She is passionate about women empowerment and nation building. She is a founding member of Yes We Can Read, an organization dedicated to youth participation, youth development, and nation building for access to quality early childhood education in the most remote parts of the Gambia. Kumba Dafe Ka, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Oh, the mic.
Yeah, it's on now. It's on now.
It's on now?
Yeah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. I am Kumba Dafe Ka, president of the Treasure Women Warriors, Jambari Jigini, 71,000. This is a great opportunity. I want to thank Paradise Foundation for this great moment that we're sharing here today. I will speak both in English and in Wolof. The team is empowering women and girls to make positive choices. So young people, I want you to listen to me. As president of the Treasure Women Warrior, I lead 7,000 women all across the country. And when God calls you to a mission, anything that will happen to women will happen to you. Even with your power, with your influence, with your money, and everything. I will tell you a story about the importance of the social media. And if you're a personality, uplifted 7,000 women, who funded its women financially, who built an edifice of our headquarters in Kiamphina, who has been championing women issues for a very long time. One day, I sat down, I was in America, at 10 a.m., my phone is ringing. It's ringing, everybody's calling, messages are coming in. I'm like, why are people calling me? Somebody said, have you gone to social media? I said, no. She said, for the last 3 days, somebody has been writing about you. I said, really? She says, yes. Not only were they writing, for an hour and a half, somebody made a video about you. Imagine, somebody 1 hour and a half, nit nekk ci nit 1 hour and a half. She touched on my husband. She touched on my children. She touched on my work. She touched on my in-laws. All of this to destroy everything, my integrity, and everything that I am, that I could be. I opened it, I saw it, I closed it, I went and did 2 rakah. I said, God forgive her, for she knows not what she does. People expected me for days. People were coming to my page to see if I am going to rise, if I am going to tontu, if I am going to set out Snowbopa. For 3 days, the first thing that I did, I went to a Black Lives Matter campaign in the United States. This woman is a woman I love and I still love, because you cannot love and not love. You absolutely cannot love and not love. But another woman sent a message, you are finished. They said, you are finished, you have been discovered, you are finished. I laughed. I said, you don't even know. I haven't even started yet, let alone be finished. But as I am processing all of these things, I look at 7,000 women that I'm a leader to, that I'm a transformational leader in this country, that I've held my head up, that I've done really amazing things in this country. And I said, I no longer belong to myself. I need jigéen ñi nga xam ne tey su ma ekkatee kàddu su ma wàññeekoo jigéen yooyu ñëpp dañuy wàññeeku. Imagine su ma tiitoon, su ma ragaloon, su ma demoon in hiding. All of these women that are relying on me for their salvation, for their self-realization, for their financial freedom, which is what Treasure Women Warriors done. That whole 7,000 women will be put to dawn. My husband looked at me and said, you are a beacon of hope. You are my salvation. I love you today that I've ever loved you. My children held my hand. Young people that I mentor, she's one of them sitting in the front. She cried. I said, I don't cry. But fulla ak fayda lu la may du la xañ. Kenn kooluma pour wax ma ne dégg nga lu kii wax. Kenn kooluma pour wax ne setal sa bopp. Because ñi nekk ak man xam nañ man may kan. Xam nañ fi ma toll, xam nañ ci sama diine, xam nañ ci sama njaboot, xam nañ ci sama taxawaay, te xam nañ ci sama jom ak sama fulla ak sama fayda.
Jërëjëf Kumba.
Young people, whatever happened to you does not determine the outcome. Stand up in your power. Stand up in the God-given grace that God has given you. You determine the trajectory.
Absolutely.
You who can make it happen.
Thank you very much. We'll have to leave it at that. We'll have to leave it at that and move on. Ñu ngi jaajëfal Kumba Dafeka. Last speaker for this session is Lubna Faraj. She's been in general practice in various areas for 20 years. She is one of the founding members of Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, or FLAG. Aside from occupying various positions in the executive of the Gambia Bar Association, the last being the president from 2013 to 2016, Ms. Farage has represented clients in matters concerning women and children with a key interest in promoting the rights of women and children in the Gambia. So you children in the hall, listen up and listen up carefully. Over to you, Lubna.
Thank you, Peter. Children, parents, ladies and gentlemen, Paradise Foundation, thank you for this invitation. I'm quite honored. I feel very privileged to be sitting with these fabulous women. When I was called, I wondered, what could I offer to these children? I sometimes feel I'm still young. I'm a child myself. What could I offer you today as an advice, as well as what could I offer parents, teachers, boys and girls? The only thing I could think of was that I'm an expert in law. It's the most boring field. And I don't want to bore you today with what the laws are. But I thought it might be necessary to enlighten you, to let you know that you have rights. Children, you have rights. You have rights to privacy. This is given to us by the Constitution. It's also given to children by the Children's Act. Parents have rights as well. Your teachers have rights. So it's not all about you as a child and what you can do and what you shouldn't do. I know you hear that a lot. But I thought I can only tell you what can you do after the incident has occurred. I can't tell you to stop doing what you're doing. There's enough panelist members, I think, enough speakers who can guide you on that. I can only tell you that if an unfortunate incident has occurred, the only way we can stop these incidents from occurring is to take a stand. Now, there are various ways of taking stand. Speak up or take it to court. And I know that my colleagues here will say, but Lubna, we're trying not to take things to court. We're trying to resolve things. We're going to mediation, arbitration. I say, let's leave those to the commercial matters. Let's take things to court because that is the only way we can get laws developed to protect us further. We don't have cyberbullying laws in Gambia. In other jurisdictions, they're working on it. I think when I was researching it, I saw that South Africa keeps producing laws relating to cyberbullying. And why do I say cyberbullying? You're out with your friends, you're doing stuff, videos, now everyone's a photographer. Pictures are taken, and then without your consent, it's uploaded. There are laws to protect you from those incidents. They're both criminal laws and the civil arena. So not only is it against the law to do certain things to someone without their consent, assault, indecent assault, or using drugs, to procure someone to do something. There are also civil laws or civil actions you can take. And I think all I want to make clear today is that please, please, when such things happen, and they're going to keep happening, take action, because that is the only way to wake society up, wake the governments up, so that more laws are created to protect each and every member in society. I hope I've reached my end.
Thank you very much, Lubna.
Thank you.
I must thank my panelists. They've been very, very disciplined. In a space of 30 minutes, can you believe that 6 people, I know 2 of them who are very talkative. Biran is number 1. Pastor Forbes has left us already. Halima, actually, I only met this morning, first at the radio before she came here. But a round of applause for your speakers, Pastor Forbes, who is away, Halimatu Jesubro, Biran Gilen, Dr. Sylvia Lorenzi, Kumba Dafeka, and Lubna Faraj. We have 2 minutes remaining. I would like to recognize the presence amongst us of National Assembly members, as well as the Deputy Mayor of the KMC, parents, also children. We have 2 minutes. If anybody has a question for the team, please come and ask your question, especially if it relates to mental health. You have been told that our mental health specialist's job is to help each and every one of us feel comfortable with themselves. So it means every time you haven't felt comfortable with yourself or about yourself, you are going through mental illness. So maybe, ask questions in that regard. So we all have been through mental illness. Maybe we go through it every day. So mental illness is not about Dofby. No questions? Well, thank you very much then. Can somebody move the mics around? There's a mic.
Hi. Oh, it doesn't work. I will scream. Dr. Sylvia Lorenzi, I want to know how do you know the difference if you just have a bad day?
Can you put the mic up, please?
If you have a bad day or you have a mental illness?
Did you hear the question? Okay.
How do you recognize if you just have a bad day or when you have a mental illness disorder? Thank you.
So we are all having mental health, just like physical health, okay? So sometimes our mental health is high, sometimes our mental health is very low, up to the point that we can develop mental health sicknesses, okay? So we can have day on and day off, good day, bad day. We can have sleeping well and maybe sleeping not well. We can have issues with our emotion management, we can experience anxiety, we can put in place behaviors that are just showing us that we are not in a good place, okay? If this is just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then we are back to normal, it's fine. But if this is happening for, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, and it is on a daily basis, it means that we really need to ask for help. We are as Peace of Mind in Budnu Maternal Hospital, and we can offer services for free. So I invite the young people, but also the adults that are having doubt about how they are feeling, or they are struggling with the life situation, they are struggling with what is happening to them when they were young or some years ago. Please reach out. You can come, you can have a mental health assessment, we can have some sessions together, and I'm sure that you will find a way to feel better.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fandasila. I'm a mental health survivor. Miss Sylvia knows me. I got a mental health problem from Beth, but now I've recovered. And she knows me because when I was on my burn stage, nobody was there for me. I met her and she gave me free counseling. I met other people that stood by my side. Good. One thing I understand about mental health problem as a person that suffered mental health problem is that the society do not pay attention to you because they always think that you are fine. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that are suffering from mental health problems. As a child, when I had my mental health problem, I was always blamed for my behavior, which contributed to my mental health being worse. Nobody paid attention to why she was acting this way, why her grades were poor, or why she was always in her room. There were days that I wouldn't be able to come out of my room the whole day because my mental health would be so worse that I can't come out. And nobody will ask me. Nobody cares to know. There are days that I wouldn't go to school. There were days that my grades will go down. As I knew when I was going to school, I was the sharpest girl in my school. Everybody knew that. But I was unable to pull up the best grades because I had a mental health problem. I had depression at 16 that was literally bringing me down to, bringing my entire life to nothing. But I want to tell you something. Don't let anything stop you Because today, I recovered from a mental health problem, and I'm here standing. If you had seen me 7 months back, you wouldn't have believed. I know the society is going to judge you. Yes, I was in a psychiatric hospital. I was removing my pants, I was removing my clothes, I was training, but hey, I'm so proud of it. And I don't regret any of those stories. And then I hope a lot of other people will share their mental health problems as I am about to share my mental health problems with the world to make people and parents know that their children might be suffering from mental health problems that they don't know. Thank you.
We'll have one last question. One last question. Huh? Sorry, the doctor wants to respond. This is why Paradise FM, next time manage your time better. Did I say Paradise FM? Paradise Foundation.
Sorry. Thank you so much for contributing. And another big point was just raised. So the behaviors that young people are putting in place are just the symptoms. What does it mean? That if I have headache, this is the symptoms. But what is behind the headache? Why my system developed the headache? Maybe I didn't sleep well. Maybe I didn't drink enough water. Maybe I'm having too much of stress. So it's the same with the behaviors, okay? If strange behaviors are in place, it's because the person is not in a good state of mind. So we need to become sensitive even towards ourselves. Because how many of us are just closing themselves in the room for hours without interacting? How many of us are just procrastinating things constantly? So sorry to touch, yes? But this time management is also part of the anxiety, eh? Yes, I'm just afraid to reach the place. Yes. So the behaviors are just something visible, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. maa ngi tudd Sera Ndiaye. My question goes to Auntie Kumba Dafe. ci li mu wax ci liñ ko def ci social media bi mu toog déggal lu ñaaw ci moom mu noppi. ma ne suma question bi dafa dem ci Auntie Kumba Dafe. li mu wax ci social media bi ñu ne ko demal on social media nga gis liñ la fa bindal ak liñ la waxal mu dem social media gis ko njabootam gis ko goroom gis ko jëkkëram gis ko te àndaale mi moo àndal ak ñi nga xam ne dañ ko naw gis ko lan la trauma ban trauma la jox bi nga gisee loolu noonu ak say njaboot ci say ak say doomi jërëjëf.
gis nga lépp ci àddina xam nga boo jiitalee yàlla ci sa mbir te yow taxuloo nga jóg xam nga ki doon wax dafa foog ne man maa tax ma jóg waaye xamut ne man du tax man maa tax ma jóg dafa am lu ma sut lu tax ma jóg te of course you are human, of course you hear all of these things dafa am luy rëcc ci yow gis nga yàlla but man dama nekk njiit boo xam ne yes am naa pour sometimes flutter fall and all that stuff but bu ma daanoo rek am na ñu bari ñuy daanu te taxaw yàlla laa taxawal te ku taxawal ak yàlla doo ragal doo tiit lii ci weeri koor la xew suñ imaan bu mu gën a kawee last 10 days ñu ngi ci jàmm yàlla bu mat sëkk ma jël yëfi delloo ko yàlla jox ko yàlla sant yàlla xam ne jigéen ñu ma boot ak li ma nekk moo ma teg lu mel nii man nangul ko yàlla ci nangul boobu si la may bési weeri koor boobu 2 days later ma am ci xéewal yoo bari yoo xam ne tractor si lañ ñu may Treasure Women Warrior tractor si kenn ku dégg mu naxari ko ñu may ñu tractor ci Treasure Women Warrior ci ci balanga ci suma jigéen ñu ji ci balanga loolu yëpp yàlla indi ma ci xéewal yàlla bu defar ko benn bi yàlla te bés boobu la sama taxawaay gën a dëgër ñu ma xam bés boobu leen ko dina respecté ko jëloo ma ma saafuma defaluma so loolu ku nekk loo xam ne du rëy la dafa sasee ko yàlla bu baax a baax so sasee leen yàlla
jërëjëf
te am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne against violence. su fekkee ñu ko war a àtte ñoom seen bopp oppressors lañu ñu ko war a àtte ñoom tamit xale yu jigéen ñi comme xale yu jigéen ñi defante xale yu jigéen ñi su àggee ci loi bi pour ñu nekk loi donc su fekkee ne yaa ngi foofu xale yi you are an oppressor you will not stand with the oppressor.
Absolutely not. Thank you very much. This is where we will have to end this session. We would like to thank you for your very kind attendance. A round of applause once again. This has been a very, very good panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter Gomez and his team. It was nice having you here. Now, before we have the next panelists, we can enjoy some entertainment. We have a drama team called the Comprehensive Health Education, and they'll be entertaining us. Sit down and relax. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you so much. It was good. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Okay. We live in a world where people have no souls to present to their dearest ones. Friends are no longer friends, and morals are no longer seen.
Well, as for the boyfriend, I've already given it to you and he left you. But if you want to have big nyash and big breast, I beg, come let me tell you.
How?
We have pills, we have injections, and we even have surgery.
Listen and listen well. You have many responsibilities and a brighter future ahead of you. But only if you focus on relevant things and stop such acts. You are an elder of your own and can take positive decisions rather than being influenced negatively.
Don't follow me.
I'll follow you. I will follow you. Ha! We are your
What is your problem? Why are you even following me?
You think you can use me and dump me? That's a lie.
Oh, you had an agreement.
Agreement under my slippers.
You needed when I gave it to you.
Who cares?
Marlon, look, I'm done with you. I have a wife. I don't need any problem.
That's a lie. Hold on, I knew you had a wife, but I still came for you. Tada meta kasini masina.
It is because of the money. I've given you the money and I've used you, so it's over. Go ahead.
Hey, listen. Other men did it and they were lucky. They ran. But for you, I'm following you.
Now listen. You got fooled by money, fame and life. You imitated and learned from the wrong people. You never thought of the outcome of your actions. But today, you learn the hardest way. And to you, my brother, treat all ladies like you will want your loved ones to be treated. Be loyal to your wife and teach good morals.
Only if I have been to school, maybe my story would have been different. This was never my wish. My parents would never listen. different. Look at this useless man they called my husband. He's been here maltreating me. I'll do all the chores in the house, but still, it's a no. Everybody in the entire neighborhood knows that he's a useless drunkard. But look at this. I am nobody.
Manspada.
Honestly, Daniel must makadu bisa. Amadu yolala. Amadu yirema.
Spartacus. I finish 5 liters of beer a day.
Amadu hana yo degulo niti nunega di wasimbere bi.
You again? Why you crying my compound like a baby like this anyhow?
You just give me one good reason. Why won't I cry, Amadu? This is not good for your health.
Did I beat you?
Give me the bottle, please.
Please, what is your problem? So now you have the guts to tell me what to drink in my own compound.
No,
Are you mad?
No, I'm not questioning you, but please just give me the bottle. It's not good for you. Amadu, leave the bottle.
Oh, don't worry. I know your problem.
What?
I know you miss me.
No, I don't miss you.
I miss you more.
No.
We'll do it.
No.
Don't worry. Follow me inside.
Listen. We have our society, and it matters a lot to us. And to keep it safe, we must avoid substance abuse. Because these drugs we abuse are making us do many things that are of no relevance. Resist peer pressure. Stand on your own. Make positive decisions and choices. Be loyal and do good. By doing this, we will have less problems and the rest will be growth. Ndax nekk si lendem taxut ñu lendem. So let's learn and live a good life.
I'm sorry, my sweetheart. My love. You know I love you so much. It's not me. It's the influence of alcohol. Please understand me. You know I love you so much. Let's go inside, okay? I'm so sorry. Baby, baby. Baby, baby. Baby.
I'm going to my mother. She is going to advise me. You are a very bad friend.
So now I'm a very bad friend, right?
Bad.
Come and look at this.
A very
Come
bad.
and look at this. You are very wicked.
I don't want.
You are very wicked with your this small nyash. Look at you.
The interest I had was only money.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. You know,
sorry as well.
it's very bad, but I'll make sure I remedy this situation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Denga.
No problem. Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause. That was very entertaining. The future is bright. We can always say, baby, I'm sorry, and then we move on. So far, we are positive. The future is bright. Thank you so much for that entertainment. It's now my pleasure to invite Mrs. Hadi Dande Jabi, a lawyer and a gender specialist, to moderate the next set of discussions. Mrs. Dande Jabi, are you around? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Sorry that I did not prepare a speech like Peter did, because I wasn't really expecting to say much. Usually I'm a speaker. Today I think it's really nice to be a moderator. So I didn't have to spend days to prepare a speech, etc. Good afternoon, honorable members. I see some of my parliament members here. Colleagues that I work with in this field. As said earlier, this is not an easy job that we do. We all know that. Working with children, with boys, girls, in the field of gender-based violence, in the field of sexual exploitation, where children are trafficked without us really realizing, where children are abused without us really realizing, where parents try to do their best But sometimes we lack. We allow our children, we give them too much space, not just allow them. I think we give them too much space. Talking as a parent, I always say that. I think we give our children now too much space. We just need to pay a little bit more attention. We need to create again that family net we used to have, where you had the uncles, the aunties, even the sisters, the brothers, talking to each other, being a family. You go home, you sit on the dining table. When I was young, the dining table was the place to conversate. It was the place where your mom, your dad would ask you, how was school today? Even if it was weekend, how was Dara? Because we all went to Dara weekends. What did you do? What did you discuss? What happened to you? That's the family I grew up in, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm sure most of us did. Nowadays, we sit at the dining table, everybody's holding their telephone. Everybody's checking, what messages do I have? Who's called me today? Who's messaged me today? Honestly, it's a waste of time. Let me tell you all a story. Since I started working for the TRRC, I'm sure you all know I worked for the TRRC. And before I came in, there were people there before me, and I see what social media did to them. And I took a decision not to look or join social media platforms till I finished my work. And you know what that did for me? It made me perform my duties perfectly. Perfectly. Reason being is that as a human being, you cannot not be affected. Like what Ajikuma just said here, I'm sure it did affect her a little bit. But thank God she didn't allow it to affect her work. In the field that I'm in, I avoid social media. So let me tell you, boys and girls, what I do. I give 30 minutes to social media a day in my life. A day, 30 minutes. It's up, I put my phone down. People tell me, please, stay in the office because you answer us when you're there. When you're at home, you never answer your phone. Home is time for my family, for me, and my peace of mind, my rest time, etc. Not for people anymore. I think we should kind of adopt those sort of systems, then we can actually stop being on this social media all the time. Thank you for that. At this point, I will now call on my panel members. Nene, are my panel members ready? They may come up. The conversation is on social media usage, bullying, and abuse amongst adolescent boys and girls. Oh, I have the names. I want them to come up first. So that's Nancy Jallo. Nancy Jallo. That's Fatou Jallo coming up next. I think that's Awasanya. Yes. I have next Lamin Jai. Then I have Usman Sediba. Then I have Rodney Dover. And Killer Ace. I'm so sorry. Is that Mr. Esaso? Thank you for making the effort to be here today, Mr. Sow. Thank you. So I won't take much more of the time. We will conversate whilst the speakers are actually giving out their statements. I will first call on Nancy Jallo. Nancy is a gender and human rights activist. She founded Global Bridges and a care non-profit organization focused on helping victims of gender-based violence. Ms. Jallo focuses on tackling gender-based issues, human track, and advocating for equal participation in decision-making positions. Thank you.
No, they did not. Good afternoon. Congratulations to the Paradise Foundation headed by my sister Aisha Balde. And I'm going to speak on those in front of this battle. When we've had from parents, we've had from government, we are yet to hear from those of us who put our lives every day to fight for this woman. We are also victims, because we live in a society where when you speak up for women, everybody believes you have a hidden agenda. Every single day, I'm on the phone between Aisha, Fatou, Mama, all of us are victims. We've seen what has transpired online. Like everybody talk about social media and what is happening. Everybody is giving attention except those of us who have been doing the fight continuously. Fanta just shared her story, and I wish there was more time for everybody to really get to know her. When I went outside and she hugged me, I broke down. These are the people who make our work worth it. These are the people that we are focused on. These are the people that energize us and make us take the bullets. For many people, those of us who are leading the fight, we are very strong and bold. What they don't understand is we can put on a united front, but behind closed doors, we have WhatsApp group chats where we cancel each other, where Aisha will show up at my house with a plate of food because I'm having a bad day from being bullied online. And I know we're focused on kids, but I realize that most of the bullying online is not done by kids, it's done by adults, grown adults, mothers bullying young girls at age 15. So the conversation needs to start from up, going down. You see a woman in her 50s, in her late 40s, attacking a girl at 15 years old because you don't believe her story. You don't have to believe her story. But as a mother, be a mom. I am a mother and I'm a young mother. So shout out to all the frontline workers, those who boldly wake up every day, leave their families behind, people like Sylvia, Aisha, Fatou, all of you, happy International Women's Day. Mam Yasin is here. She's also leading the fight with girls. I have so much to say, but I said I'm gonna focus on us today. Usually you talk about, they say talk about young girls. I'm focusing on those of us who make the sacrifice, those of us who listen to these stories. And if you are a victim yourself, you are traumatized again, and you tend to relieve these trauma. Like Sylvia rightly said, we all have lived through some sort of trauma as kids, and social media have made it worse. Anybody would just pick up your phone or have a status and write the most despicable thing about another human being. I keep saying this, if you want to destroy a Gambian woman, gather a whole bunch of Gambian women and they would gladly do it. If you want to progress also, gather a whole bunch of Gambian women and they will be more than happy to help you. We need to change the narrative. We need to start being kinder to each other. And not everybody who's out there speaking up is a victim. Not everybody who's out there speaking up has an ulterior motive. The issue of drugs, sex, every time I sit on a platform, I'll talk about the lack of sex education in school. I understand the culture, but like Biran rightfully said, times have changed. Our parenting skills must change. We cannot parent the same way our parents parent us. Because during our parents, there was no social media. So you are online, there's somebody sitting in the US influencing your behavior, how to act, what to say, and you're still stuck in Gambian society. So in order for parents to parent within this century, they must also be social media savvy. They must take an active role and participation. Different issues have happened in different schools. The past 3 months, we have seen a rise in students engaging in sexual behavior online, streamline live on Facebook. on Instagram. Most people in this room have seen it. Most people have heard about it, and everybody will blame the parents. But my question is, what triggered this? How can a young Gambian girl under age 15 be comfortable to be engaged in a sexual act online? Where did we go wrong as society? So I hope in your prayers, in your daily lives, you always remember the many people who risk their lives to protect these children, to protect these women, to protect these victims. Shout out to everybody who identify as an activist, as a feminist, as everything that involves the promotion of women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy. I think one thing that really starts out from Nancy's conversation is let's stop bullying online. Let's stop bullying online. She talked a lot about drugs. Just to follow it up to say that drugs could lead to abuse, it could lead to unwanted sex, it could lead to unwanted pregnancy, etc. Because when you abuse drugs, it abuses you in a negative way. Thank you very much, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. The next speaker is Fatulet Jallo. You may take the floor, Fatu. Thank you. Can we have Fatu's mic on, please?
Thank you, Hadi. Good afternoon, everyone. The Ministry, Paradise Foundation, NGOs who supported this initiative, well done to you all. I'm really glad to be part of this panel. You see, I work at SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia. There's no other organization like SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia. It is where we pull out children and young people from their biological families or families of origin, because it's not what we want, but because they're facing risk. Hello? Okay. Because of the risk factors. And when I got invited to this panel today, I know this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. You see, when children and young people get into substance and drug abuse or misuse, it's because there is an underlying factor. It's either because they're not getting monitored very well, by the parents or who they live with, the guardians, the caregivers, or because they face this significant bullying. This type of bullying called exclusion. They want to fit in. There's peer pressure. They want to be at par with what is happening in society. So they want to try, they want to succumb to what their friends, what they see online. Is it trendy to take now cannabis? Is it trendy to take now cannabis, drink alcohol, try the new drugs, heroin, cocaine, etc.? But do they really know the consequences, the long-term effects of this on themselves, first of all, and then on society? Those they interact with on a daily basis? No. So it is up to us, the caregivers, the parents, as a collective society to work together to educate the children and young people about the dangers of drug and substance abuse and how to stand firm, how to be confident in their own shoes. The previous drama entertainment here, which I really liked, was about raising awareness when it comes to how we see nowadays, because of this misconception that a woman's body or a girl's body has to be a certain way to be acceptable. But no, what is more important for a human being is the human being's character. You have to display a high level of character, good morals, And this is something we need to encourage in our societies. We need to reinforce that to be someone acceptable or respectable in society, first and foremost, it's not to do with your outward appearance, but it's about the values that you exhibit, that you live every day. It's about your good character, your moral, your conduct. So these are things that we need to support, and then we need to encourage in children and young people. So what I'm calling for, I know I have few minutes, so I want to make it very short, but I'm really advocating for more partnership when it comes to working together, whether it's in mental health, whether it's in child rights organizations, whether it's the government. Let us all come together to work as a team in a collective society whereby we advocate for what really is good, the harmful effects of drug, substance abuse, misuse. How do we parent now in the 21st century? How is it different from years ago, decades ago? And what do we expect from the children and young people of today? So thank you very much, and this was my short message. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
I see Fatu's trying to give away my MC. I won't allow it. Okay, thank you very much for that. Looking at your statement, I think it is important that you have raised the fact of education of parents, education of boys and girls, education of the society. Also, the fact of collective work. As civil society organizations, as pressure groups, etc., I think we say this a lot, anti-Yadi, anti-Taboo, etc., in a lot of forums. We don't work together enough. We need to work together. We need to coordinate more. Then that way we will not put different efforts in different ways. We can actually even save resources, etc., if we do coordinate more. Thank you very much for Fatu. Let's try to coordinate more as civil society organizations, etc. I will now pass on the mic to our Sanyang. Thank you. I think your mic is on.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you all. I am very glad to be here today. I am Hawa B. Sanyang, a second-year student of the Gambia College School of Public and Environmental Health. I am here to talk about drug abuse. So when we talk about drug abuse, it's not only about the abuse of illegal drugs like cocaine, alcohol, but even the abuse of prescribed drugs. Most of the young people, when they feel abnormalities in them, they do not prefer to go to the hospital. They will use drugs like paracetamol at home when they feel that their head is paining them. They will just drink it anyhow. Even that is drug abuse. And you realize that drug abuse leads to many problems for addicts and their families. Addicts' minds are disturbed. They do not care how they behave, and mostly they do not contribute to the welfare of the society. So as young kids, mostly the reason why most of the school-going kids are involved in drug abuse is because of poor parental monitoring and peer pressure. Sometimes a child goes out, interact with friends, come home, possess different attitudes, but mostly the parents are not that much concerned as to who my child is going out with. That is an area that parents need to look after. Your child going out, it does not mean that you have to control the person, or it does not mean that you are controlling the person, but knowing the whereabouts of your child, the people that your child interact with. What are some of the things that they talk about or they do when they are together with their peers? It's very important. And we see that these people who are involved in drug abuse usually do not work to earn money for themselves. They steal from their friends, from their families, and from the community to get money for drugs. And we need to understand that there are many things that lead to drug abuse. I went to a health talk to a particular school, and a student asked, how can you get rid of drug addiction? And I was like, I think there are rehabilitation centers that can help people to get rid of their addiction. But someone explained that the person is into drug addiction because he wants to cope stress. And I didn't realize that people who are victims of domestic violence mostly go into drugs to release their stress. So it is important that people living with drug addicts, we do not have to run away from them. We need to bring them closer to us, help them get rid of their drug addiction, sensitize them, and as students too who have little knowledge on health, it is important we go around to our fellow students, talk to them about the impact of drug abuse. So when we talk, there is another impact of drug abuse, especially to females. Females who use drugs respond differently to that of men. It has an impact on your hormones. It has an impact on your menstrual cycle. It has an impact on your fertility. These are things young girls and women need to consider. For pregnant women who use drugs, you will hear people saying that, oh, it is true that young girls and boys who use drugs, who abuse drugs, usually have brain damages because their brain's ability to think will reduce. Much more to an unborn baby who is in the womb, because we've seen pregnant women who smoke. But the question is, why are they smoking? Are they going through under proper care? That is the responsibility that we need to think about. Why are these young people going into drugs? Who are those that should stand by them to tell them that this and this is what you should do to get rid of your addiction? So when we see people smoking or abusing drugs in our family, we don't have to bully them. We don't have to run away from them. We should bring them closer to us and change their behaviors. This can be done through education, by creating awareness on their social and behavioral change communication. You can do this through discussions. We can do this through house-to-house campaigns to create impact on our society so that we will get rid of drug addiction. Thank you.
Ask for another round of applause for our. I get excited when I see young women. I have to say she's a young woman who actually talk about the issues, the pertinent issues that affect the society, the young. And I like the fact that she's so vocal and can go out and actually talk to her peers. They will kind of listen to her. They might not listen to the parents, etc., but they will listen to her. Thank you very much, Awa. Proud of you. At this point, I will now move on to Mr. Lamin Jai. Mr. Lamin Jai is a program officer for Future in our hands, helping the vulnerable communities in the country through right-based approaches to development. Due to his unwavering interest in empowering the younger generation for a better future through education, Lamin Jai is a lecturer at the School of Education, Gambia College. Thank you, Mr. Jai.
Thank you so very much. And first of all, I would like to thank Paradise Foundation for this phenomenal initiative. Our science industry is one of the people we live together in our room. And at some point, I offered as one of our mentor material graduate school. That is saying, every plantation farmer wants to harvest at the end of every season. But when it's very important that he or she values at the source, because these are the very things that every people have to maintain his plantation. Meaning, every society wants to have children who are responsible to become responsible people who will help the affairs of our society. As a young man who grew up in Bika, if anyone knows Bika, to be specific, Bika, you you will get to realize that it has been a competition we have been very hostile. When I was going to school, you know, in any school, in any category, primary, secondary, senior secondary school, anywhere, the most senior students always want to enjoy the privilege. That yes, we are the most senior students in the school. And at that particular time, not one attention is paid to them, because teachers have listened to them, yes, these people are about to leave us, they are looking the next level. I remember when I was going to school, in Beckham Secondary School, behind our school there is a culture at grade 9. When we used to prepare to get ourselves good grades and go to high school, that was the time some of us had some influences. Instead of going to class, we had to break away from lessons and go and see other classes. And that is where most of my colleagues started smoking. We started with cigarette before we realized weed. And that was a very crucial moment of our life. When we are in school, instead of being in the classroom, we see ourselves at the orchard, smoking. I said to myself, hey, my parents were never opportunity to raise me. I was raised by my grandmother. I was very serious when I was going to school. Why should I go up to these levels of my life, decide to put myself into a mystery? Then I took a U-turn. I went, attended my classes, and then after the I passed my exams and went to the high school of my choice. Most of my friends who will take a U-turn and become a better person were all dropped out of school. And then if I met them on street, I always make a reflection that yes, the decision I had taken wasn't a bad decision. After my high school, when in college, before a teacher, I said to myself, yes, I want to pass through this year. What should I do? I set up a peer health group in the school that I taught. And this has helped young people, educate them to be able to abstain themselves from the use of abuse substances. Today, if I look at myself, I feel proud of myself. Because a child who grew up from that hostile community is able to buy his master's degree in public administration. And a secure and very responsible job, of which I am now making impact on the lives and the lives of the most vulnerable people. To conclude, it is our responsibility as a society to enlighten our children, to have a thorough engagement with them, to talk to them about things that you know are going to affect or share their development. This country is our country, this is where we belong to, and these young children who are within our society are going to be at the head of our affairs one day. I want to use this opportunity to advise us and reflect back that we have to adopt good formulas. My former principal, Mr. Guy, is still here. These were the very people who were talking to us then when I was going to high school. Mr. Guy, I can tell you, one of those students here who is also making impact on the life of the people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai. From your conversation, it just makes me think that we tend to say that this generation have everything at hand. They have so many facilities, resources, etc. But I would want to say that at some point it may also be more of a danger to them in a way than, because they're more privileged than we were. We didn't have a lot of the social media, etc. They have it now, but it just has to be used in a positive way. It has to be used in a way that helps them to grow, to educate themselves, to better understand issues. Thank you very much for that statement. I would now be calling on Mr. Rodney Dover, who's an educationist and serves as the Director of Schools of Marina International School. He's been here from September 2022, and he's an amazing leader and very passionate about impacting the lives of young people. And as a mother of Marina School, I would just like to say the conversation is that Mr. Dover likes to send a lot of emails. You're receiving emails every day. So Marina School parents can no longer say we are not informed. Thank you for that. We are very well informed. You may take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoa. One's lens, one's perspective is everything as we journey through life. And I was asked a while ago if I'd be interested in sitting on a panel, which we are, sort of a round table discussion on social media and teens. And I was very excited about that because I think conversation is key, education is key. And of course I said yes. I show up and I see a hall full of people. My perspective was totally wrong. And then I frantically started writing down some points because I've been told throughout my career that I have the gift of gab, so my apologies. As I was listening to the presenters, it all resounded something from each and every one of them. I feel like I know children better than I know adults. I've been working with them now, this is my 35th year. And I spent 30 years in Canada, then close to 4 years in Qatar. And I had a wonderful opportunity, a volunteer opportunity to go to Freetown, Sierra Leone, to do some work with children there. And I was blessed to be given an opportunity to work with Marina. 35 years of students have told me a few things around social media and how children work. And I want to just, first of all, before I get into that, give you some stats. I think stats are important, and I want to focus right now on the last 20 years. We've been around, we have some decent knowledge of the last 60,000 years, and we know we've been around for, 1-2 million years. But certainly, let me just focus on the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, think about this for a moment. Depression rates have doubled. And I know I'm here to talk about social media, but I think it's all connected. 20 years, depression rates have doubled. 1 in 3 girls have reported considering suicide in 2022. 33.333% of our young girls have considered suicide in 2022. Mental health is real among our children. It's real among our adults. The mortality rate in North America, the number one reason that the youth people die is because of accidental deaths. The majority of our children in North America, in Canada, die because of vehicle accidents. But do you know what the number 2 reason for mortality rates between the ages of 15 and 24? Suicide. Think about that for a moment. In North America, committing suicide is the second reason for mortality rates among our youth. I think that is quite devastating. Let's now skip ahead 18 years to the pandemic, COVID. See, social media is not the problem. I remember going through March 2019, we discovered a little bit before that COVID. And in April 2019, in Qatar, I ended up getting COVID. Of course, we were, for the most parts, pretty ignorant of it at that time. I was pushed off to a tent in the middle of some desert next to a Cuban hospital out in the middle of nowhere. And social media was the only thing that connected me to my family, particularly my youngest son. It was invaluable. It's what kept me going for 2 days on a respirator, not knowing what COVID was going to do with me. Social media is not the issue. The issue among our teens right now is social interaction. I mentioned 20 years. I remember in 2004 dealing with a young boy who was in trouble in the principal's office in my province of Newfoundland and Labrador. He said some very unkind things on a social media that I knew nothing about in 2004 as an educator. I think it was called MySpace. It was the very first app that we started using to communicate and share. And all of a sudden, for the last 20 years, I've been dealing with it weekly, whether in Canada, whether in the Middle East, or whether here in Gambia. And we will always be dealing with social media challenges. You see, I'm sitting in an audience here and I'm watching adults and children continually using their phone. It's here to stay. There's nothing we can do about that. But we need to understand what happened in the last 20 years for this to change. Well, I think I boil it down to two things. By the way, everything that was said here, absolutely. Parent interaction, being connected with your children, these are key things. Education, these are key things. I want to focus on just two real quick things that I haven't heard. One is the social interaction piece. For 60,000 years, we touched each other, we talked to each other, we communicated, we held hands. We did all of this for 60,000 years. We developed. And all of a sudden, in 2004, children started interacting and preferred to interact in their bedrooms on a little piece of tool called a computer that we were kind of foreign about. So in 20 years, we've developed into these beings that 60,000 years has taken for us to be where we are. It's important that people interact. The problem with social media is this. Sadly, our children are looking for things like acceptance, rightly so, accountability, being accountable for what they're doing and feeling good about it. They're looking for praise. They're looking for positive behaviors. You mentioned positive behaviors. Absolutely. The second piece I wanted to talk to you about is the prefrontal cortex. Science. Let me bore you just for a quick moment. We need to study this. We know among girls, we know girls are much more mature than boys. We know that. It happens quicker. They are much better at maturing than the boys. We know that. The research is there. But why is there an increase in girl suicides and girl depression? Why do we see that among our countries? By the way, we haven't got this figured out. Think about this for a moment. 12 youth in Canada every day commit suicide. 200 attempt to commit suicide every day in Canada. That's real stats. That's real children. That's real youth. But the prefrontal cortex for children develops the need to be wanted and feel good. That's the very first thing it does. That develops before their ability to understand and to differentiate between good and bad. Okay, so that's clear. They want to feel good. That's more important than the idea of making good and bad decisions. We know that. But then there comes a point in the youth development where they overlap. They now know what's right and wrong. And so all of a sudden we talk about discipline, behavior. What are we going to do to discipline this child because he or she did something inappropriate? Well, the science is very clear. During that time, and it happens differently for boys and girls, and it happens different individually. Social media, we have discovered, not me, the scientists, that when, as young boys and girls, see behaviors that are unacceptable, they know it's right, they know it's wrong, they know that. The problem is this, the brain does something funny. When the brain sees likes, you know, these thumbs up, or a conversation that's happening that's positive around his poor behavior, the frontal cortex shuts down at that moment. And all of a sudden, we got boys and girls in their privacy of their bedroom who are brilliant young boys and girls who know the difference. At that moment, take that inappropriate, intimate picture and share it with the world. It's as much science. We have to understand that. We have to put the parameters in place to support our children. When they do make a mistake, it's not about discipline. It's about providing positive behavioral supports. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, okay, my mic was off. I think it's because of the fact that this particular statement was so scientific for me that I don't even know how to break it down. But I think one of the things I really got out of it is that we need to pay attention to boys and girls when they reach the age where they're changing, because that's when all these different behaviors come in, etc. And we need to be able to handle it. We need to know how to actually face it and help them go through those stages. And I think you spoke about that earlier on, where we don't get that support, etc. It's really important to get the support at that time of your life. Thank you very much. Mr. Killer Ace, you may take on. Killer Ace is actually an activist through his music. I'm sure a lot of you have heard his music. When you listen to it, sometimes I get inspired because I tend to hear what he's saying. You know, you hear it, not only in the music itself, but you actually hear the passion in the way he's saying it and doing it. And I think it's educational. Thank you. You may take the floor.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. I would first like to say a big congratulations and a round of applause to the organizers for organizing such a prestigious event, especially carried out by women, you know, who in society are naturally expected to fail when they do things that men definitely dominate in. So kudos to everybody in here. I see a lot of beautiful, influential women in the house who have been doing some great work, and I'm happy that they have been recognized. I've been given the task to talk about the social media use and influence on drugs, and a